Thanks, David.
Thanks very much, Miranda, and I want to recognise the work that Miranda has done. You've got a stalwart resident there and the work that Miranda has done. I'd like to start by acknowledging it's Aboriginal land we're gathered on. And I'm sure all of you know, and all of us endeavour ever more to show that respect and to acknowledge the fact that for the 60,000 years before we turned up and have done so much damage to this place in the last 230 years, that Aboriginal people showed that custodianship and protect for the land, and we have a lot to learn from them and a lot more respect to give them. And so I start with that acknowledgement to their elders past and present. Pittwater. Haven't the rivers of gold flown to the residents of Pittwater since the amalgamation happened? Hasn't it got so much better? If there's one illustration that I think says a lot about what it means to be part of a mega council, I'll just do a little test. Could all the local councillors who are here please put their hand up? One. And Vince DeLuca, I acknowledge Councillor Vince DeLuca here tonight. But remember when you did that in Pittwater and you had 6, 7, 8 or 9 local representatives putting their hand up and saying they were here and they were interested about you? Let's get back to that. Because the fact is, you don't live in a local council anymore. You live in some strange regional administrative unit where you as a resident mean bugger all. And where the interests of Pittwater are really right down the bottom of the food chain. The big decision makers, the big decisions, the big resources are going well south of here, in the population centres where their vote matters more and where the special interests have played out in a very ugly way, as you've seen, not just leading up to this amalgamation, but in the decades prior to this. You've been cut out of the deal. And you deserve your council back. You deserve your council back. And where's your local member? Good point. But look, I'll just touch base upon one other thing that's happened. Not only have you lost your council and you've lost your local residents, you lost your local councillors and your local representation. But meanwhile, the state government has also actually taken all Sydney Council's planning powers effectively off them. No democratically elected councillor anywhere in Sydney can now decide a development application. Isn't that obscene? I form the view that politics and planning go together. The decisions about the future of your neighbourhood, the future of your street, whether or not your neighbourhood turns into a row of apartment blocks or a massive shopping centre or a bottle shop opens up down the end of your street, these aren't just decisions for a bunch of bureaucrats to make. They're decisions that are political and you have a democratic right to have a say in them. Because it's your city, it's your town, it's your street, it's your locality, and you and your democratically elected representatives need to have a say in it. Not a bunch of appointees from the state government. So what's happening now? Well, the Liberal government, and Peter and I agree on a lot, but we don't agree on this because Labor voted for this, but hopefully they'll change their view going forward. But we agree on a lot, Peter, but this is one. The Liberal government has put through laws that put in place what are called local planning panels. It sounds nice, doesn't it? Sounds local. Local planning panel. So who's on a local planning panel? Local planning panels, for the record, decide all the contentious development applications in their local area. Everything under, I think, $30 million. Whenever there's 10 or more residents complain and raise their concerns, it'll bounce up to a local planning panel. It's all the really contentious stuff. Councillors are prohibited from being on the local planning panel. So the people you elect and can throw out when they stuff it up, they are not allowed. Prohibited, statutorily prohibited. There is, however, a chair. Who appoints the chair? Well, the planning minister appoints the chair. But that's okay, it's an independent specialist, chosen by the New South Wales planning minister. Who here thinks New South Wales planning ministers have a history of being incorruptible? Anyhow, apparently it's an anti-corruption measure. But then, of the 4-member panel, the local council can appoint 2 independent experts. So the chair is appointed by the planning minister, and the local council can choose 2 independent experts. any independent experts they like, provided they're from a list approved by the Planning Minister. And we are seeing senior lawyers who are paid in their day job by the big end of town, senior planners and architects who are paid by developers and the development industry. They're the people who are the chairs and the independent experts from lists and choices made by the Planning Minister. It's all over Sydney. And then the local council gets to choose the buddy, the community representative who makes up the fourth member of the panel. And that actually is whoever the local council chooses, provided it's not a council. But get this, the community representative is meant to be representing the interests of the community. You know, it's the sounding board. How does the community feel about this particular development? That's why you have a community rep. The rules have recently been published about how these planning panels are to operate. And they expressly prohibit the community representative from talking to the community about the developments. Expressly prohibited. If any resident comes to talk to the community rep and says, I've got a real concern about this development, they literally have to put their hands over their ears, run out of the room and say, I can't talk to you, I'm not allowed to actually speak to you. Yeah, it's like some sort of Orwellian concept, isn't it? The community rep can't talk to the community. And then, to add insult to injury, the way the panel works is this. The chair has a casting vote. The chair chosen by the Planning Minister. So the chair just needs one other person to get on board and they control the whole agenda. But the community rep, if they want to go against the chair, they need to get 3 out of 4. It's stacked against you from the outset. It should have no place in Sydney. We need to get back to the point where planning decisions aren't made by appointees of the Planning Minister who represent the property industry, but we need to get back to the point where your democratically elected councillors who represent your area decide the future of your area. Absolutely. We need to scrap these laws. But fundamentally, I think we should. Can I now just quickly touch upon amalgamation? And different people have different views about where you take your campaign from here. I was of the view, Peter and I travelled around the state in the lead up and the brouhaha about the amalgamations. We saved, between us, I counted the other day, well over 40 councils from amalgamation. I mean, there are councils all across the state were saved primarily because they, when they were under the gun, took legal action, held it off. We held the government off for long enough. We won the political campaign and they survived. And that took a united, almost everywhere that happened, we saw local government doing what it does best, uniting with residents' campaigns, listening to external activists and campaigners, and using their resources and initiating legal advice intelligently to build that connection between the residents' campaign, what they could do in court, a broader statewide campaign, and they won. That was local government working well. That was community campaigning working well. It was had a great success. Where are you? Well, I'll give you this comprehensive commitment, and I know Peter's given it as well, and other MPs have given it from other parties. Following the upcoming March election, I will commit 100% to my party supporting legislation that gives you an unambiguous, binding right for a referendum to determine the future of Pittwater. No ifs, no buts, you choose, and you get that done after March. So that's great, right? Maybe for you after March, maybe not. How do you get there? How do you make sure this issue remains on the agenda, boils along, you keep your community active? What are the steps you take to keep us there? To keep us honest? To keep the campaign going? Well, you've now got a petition which has...
It's close to 2,500.
Close to 2,500 signatures. And Tumbarumba, another fabulous council that got completely slaughtered by the state government. The most financially robust council anywhere in New South Wales apart from the City of Sydney. That's good old Tumbarumba, where even the delegate appointed by the state government said, don't merge Tumbarumba with Schumann, that would be nuts. So the government did. They merged Tumbarumba with Schumann. Tumbarumba have got a petition which they have presented to the Minister, demanding the de-amalgamation, demanding that they be established as a standalone, re-established as a standalone council. And what did the Minister do? Well, the Minister sent it off and played ducks and drakes and legal advice and says you haven't got enough signatures. Because when we stand on our head, tip on one side, and read the Local Government Act in a particular way, you need more signatures you need 10% of the whole council area, not just 10% of Tumbarumba. And you're in a position where you now have 10% of the residents of Pittwater. And I'm certain that they will play the same silly buggers with you when you present your petition to the minister. So what do? Well, I tell you, get more. That's a great advice. But to get 10% of the whole of the amalgamated area is bloody close to impossible. So what you could do is you could look to your war chest and you could see if you could take the government to court on this issue, to challenge them on this issue, to drag them in and make the Local Government Act work for you, raise awareness of it, challenge them in the court, keep the profile going, give a definite focus to your campaigns over the next few months, keep this alive between now and March, and if you win it, terrific. Bang, you've embarrassed them again, they're wrong again, you've humiliated them again, and they often get it wrong. They're not geniuses, this state government. And even if you don't win it, you've built your campaign, you've taken your steps, you've kept it on the issue, and when March comes around, we're all thinking of you, we will all hold true to our commitments, and you'll get your legislation either way. That's my thoughts. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much, David.